When Goku becomes the Namekian savior, when a wish sends him to planet Namek and even making him half Namekian, he saves and helps Namek a massive deal. Of course, there are road bumps along the way. There's time along the way that he has to take on some of the most fierce competition he's ever seen. And that all was Lord Frieza and another tyrant by the name of King Cold. The others fall in place, but here's the issue. With those two now fallen and those two now killed and seemingly Namek being safe, there's more to come. There's more dangers that hover over the horizon, and Goku must face them head on. Goku would look over Namek and he would see the ships, the technology, and many other things all around. He would know that something needs to be done with all of this stuff that they have. He believes that being the Namekian savior, being the person that was sent here to help Namek, he needs to do a little bit more than just protect it through physical attributes. He needs to protect it with evolving. He believes that as a part Namekian, that this is the best way to do so, and the best way would be changing these ships, this technology, and utilizing it for not only the training of Namekians, but also the living and the life of the Namekians. With tons of ships all around, this is the perfect chance for Goku and everyone else to learn how to utilize them. Maybe they would even decide to utilize the Dragon Balls one time to figure out how exactly all of this technology works, but the Namekian Book of Legend would probably give them a good grasp on how to utilize some of this stuff. And even if they don't know how to utilize it perfectly, they have a ton of time to figure it out. Goku, on the other hand, would decide that he would take a small group, maybe of 10 to 15, of the strongest warrior Namekians that he has and that he knows. He would tell them that they're going to take ships out into the cosmos. They would question why, and Goku would tell them that learning and helping other planets will drastically help them as a race, and on top of that, will expand on how strong they can truly be. Goku explains that the strength of Frieza, the strength of King Cold, Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz, all were so vastly different than the strength that they all hold. That expanding on your way of kind of being, the way of life, is something that needs to happen. So they all follow suit, and Goku promises that he would visit Namek from time to time to make sure everything is fine and okay. And of course, over the next couple years, everything would be completely fine. No problems, no threats, no nothing. And Goku would travel the cosmos. From planet to planet, they would learn techniques. They would even stumble across a planet by the name of Yardrat. And Goku would decide to not only learn from the Yardratians, but also leave some of the Namekians there to help protect the planet, but also learn as much as possible as well. Goku believes that the strength of the Namekians is also in the hands of himself. He may be the savior, but the savior should teach and try and allow the other warriors to rise up so that they can protect when maybe Goku isn't there anymore. Maybe one day Goku's gone, or maybe one day Goku is dead. They need to be able to protect their planet, and helping other planets get better, stronger, and learning from them also will help the advancement of the Namekian race. Goku would eventually head back to Namek, but as he's arriving, he sees two people actually showing up. When he introduces himself and asks what they are there for, it would actually be a bit of an odd question. And they would ask if he's ever heard of the tale of Majin Buu and Babidi, or well, Babidi. And well, Goku would be pretty confused by this, but he would explain that he knows who it is and go on so on about who Majin Buu is and so on and so forth. The two unknown people would introduce themselves as the Supreme Kai, or Shin, and also Kibito Kai. They would explain that Majin Buu is going to be awakened, and they have an assumption that there's going to be a chance they come to Namek to try to do so. Babidi and Dabura, two of very strong beings, one with amazing magic and other with ungodly strength. Well, they're gonna need the help of someone like Goku to actually defeat them. In which Goku asks what he would have to do so, and he would say that he would help with no questions further than that. They would say that he needs to train with the Z Sword, and once he trains with the Z Sword, he should be able to defeat them, and that the Z Sword is the weapon that can defeat Majin Buu, so there's no doubt in their mind that it can also defeat Dabura and Babidi. So the training on the world of the Kais would then begin. Goku would learn from the Kais. There's a good amount of time before they have to employ a plan to actually stop Babidi and Dabura, so training with the Z Sword is something that is very, very beneficial. And during this time, Goku would awaken a new form of Super Saiyan, being that of Super Saiyan 2, but his power would elevate even greater throughout this time just with training the Z Sword. We're talking Kais that could teach him vast techniques, and their strength as well is pretty comparable. In which Goku would bring up the fact that if they're a Supreme Kai, or Shin is a Supreme Kai, then why did he not stop Frieza, someone that was a tyrant, someone that was horrible for the universe? And then an argument would eventually ensue about the fact that Kais need to stay neutral. But Goku believes that if they have the power to help the mortals all around, including ones like Goku himself, they need to do so. They're intervening now, so what was to stop them before? And what's to stop them with intervening against Frieza? It doesn't make sense. He even tells Shin that Frieza was an extremely bad person, killing thousands, millions. He's not 100% sure, but he exterminated races of their own, of many races, and even the race of his own, the Saiyans. So why is it that he chose to do nothing? In which Shin would be at a loss for words, but Goku would say that it doesn't matter about what he has to say here and now. He better make up for what he's kind of lacked in the universe. Goku would tell him that he feels strong enough now to take on Dabura and Babidi, in which he really would be, especially with the strength of all of the Namekians that are within him at this moment. He knows that he's ready. He takes the Z Sword, which he can casually swing around now, and he actually ramps up, and everybody ramps up their power on Namek. This would eventually attract the wizard Babidi and also Dabura, and when arriving, they are met with a rude awakening. Dabura would spit on some of the Namekians to thin the herd quite a bit, but Goku knows that he needs to finish this fight as quick as possible. And with the help of Shin and also Kibito, it seems as if this fight shouldn't be too difficult. Even the magic of Babidi would be counteracted by the Namekians' magic. Yes, Babidi is a insanely strong wizard, but the Namekians, altogether at least, can definitely counteract it to a certain degree, and on top of that, Shin can help out, and Goku can as well. His Namekian abilities to actually do so are pretty potent, so they're able to actually stop the magic of Babidi, killing Dabura, and Babidi would follow suit very, very soon after. Goku would tell Shin and Kibito that it's, time for them to make a better difference than they already are. He knows that they have questions about if they should really be involved with mortals and so on and so forth, but Goku tells him that he believes that they should be doing so. So Shin decides to make a deal with Goku, that he will train with the Kais in kind of pursuit of being a Kai himself, and he can help the universe as he sees fit. In which Goku kind of thinks about this for a second and says that he will train with the Kais, train with them, learn their techniques, and also evolve himself. But there is no promise that he wants to be a Kai. He's not sure what that really represents quite yet, so he wants to hold off on it. And since he now would know something like the Kai or even instant transmission from Yardrat, but the Kai is more or less a better version of instant transmission, at least to the degree that Goku knows it, It's more or less perfect to go back and forth to Namek if he sees fit, so he continues to train on the Kai's world. He visits Yardrat, and he visits vast amounts of other planets to help out the other Namekians that are scattered around. And if they want to go home or want to head home, or they have to send off a distress signal for help with Goku, Goku teleports and he's there in a matter of a split second, but nothing too major is even happening. The Namekian warriors on other planets are strong themselves. Yes, they are no Goku level, but they are pretty strong, so they can fend for themselves. Any major events, they could always contact Goku, but minor stuff, they can 100% handle themselves. Throughout this time, during this training, Goku would even kind of ask if they can stress test the Z-Sword. He wants to see what the Z-Sword's all about and what it's really capable of, and he begins to kind of swing it at different materials, from giant rocks to pretty dense items, and eventually he would swing it and try to break through a giant cube of Kachin, which is the strongest material in the universe. But when doing this, he swings down and the sword would break in half. Everybody would freak out, thinking that this is horrible, that this isn't good, that sword is so powerful. But of course they would say that it's okay at the end of the day, because Majin Buu was already prevented, and Babidi and Deborah are gone, dead and gone. So it's okay that the Z-Sword is broken, at least kind of. But then they do realize something else. It seems like old Kai, or a Kai that really they don't know much about, but it is an old Kai, comes out of nowhere, appearing out of the sword. Elder Kai reveals himself and explains how he got in there in the first place, and Goku, listening, hears the name Beerus, or the God of Destruction. He doesn't know much about Beerus, or the God of Destruction, and he only has heard from the Namekian Book of Legend, but he knows the strength that Beerus may hold. Maybe Beerus would even be a threat in the near future. And Elder Kai would look around and would even see this aura glistening off of Goku. It's something odd. Elder Kai doesn't really say much more, but he does tell Goku that he basically has some insane latent potential. After speaking about Beerus just a little bit, Goku would bring up the fact that he's nervous about a so-called God of Destruction. That isn't a so-called God of Destruction dangerous? And Elder Kai would look in surprise, but at the same time, well, he would be excited. Maybe this is a way for him to get Beerus back, but at the same time, maybe this will make Beerus happy. He tells Goku that Goku himself, has insane latent potential, like he said before, but he has a way to awaken it. In which Goku would say that he's already had his potential awakened, but Elder Kai says not the way that he does. That is far, far different, especially compared to the Namekian way. Elder Kai even explains that him being half Namekian and having all the latent potential of so many Namekians fused within him, that makes his potential off the charts. We're talking about every single Namekian's potential being awakened within him, on top of what he is as well. He's half Saiyan, half Namekian at the end of the day. Elder Kai would tell Goku, though, that this ritual would take at least 2.5 days, maybe longer. It would be a long time, so if he's up for it, he definitely doesn't mind doing it. But, of course, he wants, well, Goku to give Beerus a run for his money if he ever needs to. Goku would nod, and he would sit down as Elder Kai would begin to dance around him. 1 day, 2 days, and about 3 days would pass, and the ritual would finally be done. Elder Kai would explain that the way to actually trigger this potential unleashed type of form, he needs to act as if he's going Super Saiyan. Goku would focus as much as possible, and he charges up, and his power would explode. They would all stand there in complete and utter awe. How is he this strong? Goku could feel the power of all the Namekians that are fused within him. He truly can feel this immense amount of strength. but it doesn't even feel like his body is straining, as if he's channeling the highest power of Super Saiyan he possibly can, but without any stamina or endurance issues. It feels amazing. It's insane. So Goku would continue his training on the Kai's planets, maybe even on other planets as well, after getting this potential unleashed form. And one day, he would leave the Kai's world and would head off to Namek. When he would use the Kai and arrive on Namek, well, someone would be visiting the Kai's world right when he leaves. The Kai's world would be more or less introduced to two people that we haven't seen quite yet, but we've heard glimpses of: Beerus and Whis. And it seems like before the Kais can even warn Goku, Beerus and Whis are headed to Namek. When they would arrive, Beerus would remark that it's a very peaceful and nice planet, but he has heard that their food isn't very good, and that they must provide him as much as possible. They would agree, and they would give him plant-based food. I mean, they only really drink water, so maybe lettuce and stuff like that. Beerus seems to like it okay, but he isn't happy about it 100%. And he says that, well, he's going to destroy this place unless he sees a Super Saiyan God. Of course, Goku would then talk about the Namekian Book of Legend, and it says that, well, it seems they need 5 pure-hearted Saiyans channeling into another, but there aren't even that many Saiyans that he knows of. He's killed 3 others, so there's just no way, and there's no way there's any other pure-hearted Saiyans. Beerus would say that's really a shame, and honestly, it sucks, because now he has to blow up the planet. He would then channel a ball of ki into his hand, and he would send a blast toward Namek, but he would only use about 5% of his power. Goku would then make contact with the blast, destroying it instantly, and Beerus would grow a little smirk on his face. Beerus would tell Goku that he is no Super Saiyan God, but at the same time, he is a Saiyan who has been training with the Kais. So he wants to see what this mortal has in store for him in a fight. Beerus would ground his foot and fly at Goku, and Goku would immediately look to parry as the fight between Goku and Beerus is about to begin. But that is for the final part of What If Goku Was Half Namekian. If you enjoyed part 2, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And I hope y'all enjoy part 2, and I have a little bit to do in part 3. For those probably wondering, like, hey, how is this going to be the end? How's part 3 going to be the end? I mean, this version of Goku is definitely going to do a certain thing that would lead to many things just, you know, straight up not happening. Because if you've been paying attention, Goku's definitely a bit of a peacemaker and someone that wants to help the universe entirely. But with that said, no more spoilers. I want y'all to wait for part 3. And as always, I hope y'all enjoyed. Like I said, I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.